My daughter Maya was 23 years old when she invented the app that would destroy my marriage. Well, that's not quite accurate. My husband Richard destroyed our marriage when he started sleeping with his personal trainer. Maya just gave me the tools to prove it. I was 52 years old, married 28 years, and I'd never once suspected Richard of cheating. Why would I? We had a good life. 2 successful kids, a beautiful home in the suburbs. He was an executive at a tech company. I was a high school guidance counselor. We were comfortable, stable, safe. Or so I thought. The first sign was so subtle I almost missed it. Richard started going to the gym at 5 a.m. instead of 6 a.m., said his new trainer, Ashley, recommended earlier sessions for optimal hormone levels. Then he bought new cologne, expensive stuff from a brand I'd never heard of. Then he started keeping his phone face down on every surface. Little things, nothing concrete, just a feeling in my gut that something had shifted. I mentioned it to Maya during our weekly lunch date. She was home for the summer between her master's program in computer science and a job at a Silicon Valley startup. "Mom, that's classic cheating behavior," she said, scrolling through her phone while eating salad. "Face down phone is like the #1 tell." "You think your father is cheating?" She looked up then, really looked at me. "Do you?" "I don't know. Maybe I'm being paranoid. Or maybe your instincts are telling you something." She set down her fork. "Mom, I built something last semester. An app. It was supposed to be a joke project for my security vulnerabilities class, but it actually works really well." "What kind of app?" "A monitoring app. You install it on someone's phone and it tracks everything. Location, texts, calls, deleted messages, hidden apps, browser history, everything. It runs in the background, looks like a system update file. The person being monitored has no idea it's there." "That sounds illegal." "It's legally gray. For a spouse to install it on a shared phone, it's technically allowed under some state laws, for research purposes anyway." She leaned forward. "Mom, do you want to know the truth?" I thought about that. Did I want to know? Or did I want to keep living in comfortable ignorance? "Yes," I said finally. "I want to know." Installing the app was easier than I expected. Richard left his phone charging in the kitchen while he showered before work. Maya had sent me the app file and instructions the night before. My hands shook as I unlocked his phone. He'd never changed the passcode from our anniversary date, which now seemed either ironic or insulting, and installed the file. 30 seconds. That's all it took. The app icon disappeared immediately, camouflaging itself as part of the phone's operating system. According to Maya, Richard would never know it was there unless he did a complete factory reset. "Give it 24 hours, Maya had told me. Let it collect data. Then log into the dashboard I created, and you'll see everything." 24 hours felt like 24 years. I went through the motions of my day, counseled students about college applications, met with parents about their children's anxiety, pretended everything was normal while my phone burned in my pocket with the knowledge that answers were coming. Richard came home at 8 p.m., later than usual. "Sorry, babe," he said, kissing my cheek. His hair was still damp. "Got caught at the gym, you know how Ashley is. Doesn't let you leave until you've hit your targets." "Ashley?" He said her name so casually, so comfortably. "How's Ashley doing?" I asked, keeping my voice light. "She's great, really pushing me hard. I'm seeing results, don't you think?" He flexed slightly, showing off arms that were definitely more toned than they'd been 3 months ago. "You look good. Feel good, too. Best shape of my life." He grabbed a beer from the fridge. "What's for dinner?" And just like that, we slipped back into our routine. Dinner, TV, bed, him on his phone, me pretending to read, both of us existing in parallel lives that no longer quite intersected. He fell asleep first, snoring softly beside me. I pulled out my phone and opened the dashboard Maya had created. 24 hours of data loaded on my screen. And my world shattered. Text messages first. Hundreds of them to a contact saved as Ashley M. Ashley, miss you already. Can still feel your hands on me. Richard, tonight was incredible. You're incredible. Ashley, when can I see you again? Tomorrow morning? Richard, 5 a.m. I'll tell Janet I'm going in early. Janet, that was me. He was coordinating his affair around me like I was an inconvenient scheduling conflict. I ran to the bathroom and threw up. When I came back to bed, Richard was still sleeping peacefully, snoring, dreaming, probably about her. I went back to the app. Location data showed he'd been to her apartment 47 times in the past 3 months, always between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m., or late evenings when he claimed to be working late. Deleted messages that the app had recovered showed him telling her he loved her, that she was his soulmate, that I was just someone he'd outgrown. Browser history showed he'd been researching divorce attorneys, looking at apartments downtown, shopping for jewelry, expensive jewelry I'd never received. The app even captured photos taken on his phone that he'd deleted, pictures of them together, his arm around her, her kissing his cheek, one photo of her wearing a diamond tennis bracelet, $15,000 according to the receipt I found in the app's financial tracking feature. $15,000 of our money spent on her. I sat there until 4 a.m. going through every piece of data, every lie, every betrayal, every moment he touched me while thinking about her. By the time the sun came up, I wasn't crying anymore. I was planning. I called Maya at 7 a.m. Mom, what's wrong? He's cheating. You were right. It's his trainer, Ashley. They've been together for at least 3 months, probably longer. And he's planning to divorce me, says he needs to structure the settlement in his favor first. Maya swore. Mom, I'm so sorry. Don't be sorry. Help me. My voice was steady now, cold with purpose. Your app collected everything. Can you help me use it? What do you want to do? I want to destroy him before he can destroy me. There was a pause. Then Maya said, I'll be there in an hour. Don't do anything until I arrive. 60 minutes later, my daughter sat at my kitchen table with her laptop, pulling up dashboards and files and data streams I didn't fully understand. Okay, she said, cracking her knuckles. Let's talk strategy. You have 3 options. 1, confront him privately, show him the evidence, negotiate divorce on your terms. 2, contact a lawyer, use this data to secure a favorable settlement, handle everything legally. 3, go nuclear. What's nuclear? Maya looked at me over her laptop. Expose everything, to everyone. His colleagues, his boss, his friends, his family. Make sure everyone knows what he did. Destroy his reputation the way he was planning to destroy your finances. Can I do that? Legally, gray area. The data was collected from a phone you have legal access to as his spouse. You're not publishing anything that isn't true, but it would be brutal, Mom. There's no going back from nuclear. I thought about Richard upstairs, showering before another early morning workout with Ashley. Thought about him researching divorce lawyers while pretending to work late. Thought about 28 years of marriage that he was ready to throw away for a 26-year-old personal trainer with abs and no stretch marks. I want nuclear, I said, but strategic nuclear. I don't want to just destroy him. I want him to lose everything I've helped him build. Maya smiled. Not a happy smile, but a fierce one. Okay, then we need to be smart. We need to time this perfectly, and we need to make sure we protect you legally and financially before we detonate the bomb. How long will that take? Give me 2 weeks. Can you act normal for 2 weeks? I thought about pretending everything was fine while collecting ammunition,
about smiling at Richard while documenting his betrayal, about being strategic instead of emotional. "Yes," I said, "I can do 2 weeks." Those 2 weeks were the hardest of my life. I had to be normal, kiss Richard goodbye in the mornings knowing he was going to her, make dinner knowing he'd been texting her about their future together, sleep beside him knowing he was counting down the days until he could leave me. But Maya and I were working. First, finances. Maya helped me document every account, every asset, every investment. We discovered Richard had opened a secret account 3 months ago and had been moving money into it, small amounts that wouldn't trigger my attention, but adding up to $47,000. "He's hiding money," Maya said, "building a nest egg for his new life. That's illegal in a divorce. We can use this." Second, evidence. The app was still running, still collecting. Every day brought new ammunition, more texts, more deleted photos, more research into divorce attorneys. And then Maya found something interesting. "Mom, look at this." She turned her laptop toward me. "Ashley isn't just his trainer. She has a pattern." "What do you mean?" I did some digging. Social media, public records, that kind of thing. Ashley Martin has been engaged 3 times in the last 5 years. Never married. Each engagement was to a wealthy older man. Each relationship ended with the man paying her off. She's a con artist. She's a professional. Look, here's Tom Henderson, real estate developer. Dated her for 8 months, gave her a $60,000 parting gift when they split. Here's David Chen, tech executive. Dated her for 6 months, bought her a car, and paid off her student loans before they broke up. Maya pulled up more photos. Ashley targets wealthy married men, gets them to leave their wives, takes whatever money and gifts she can extract, then moves on to the next target. Does Richard know? I doubt it. He probably thinks he's special, that she really loves him. Maya looked at me. "Mom, we can use this. We can show him he's not his first mark, just his latest, and we can make sure everyone at his company knows he's being conned." "His company?" "Dad's an executive at TechCorp. The CEO is really big on family values, ethics, all that stuff. If it gets out that Dad is having an affair and embezzling marital funds to support his mistress, that could affect his job." I thought about Richard's career, 23 years at TechCorp, working his way up from junior developer to VP of operations. The job he loved, the company where he was respected, valued, where people listened when he spoke. "How much of his identity is tied to that job?" I asked. "All of it," Maya said. "Take away TechCorp, and you take away everything he thinks makes him important. Then that's what we do."
On day 13 of my 2 weeks, I met with an attorney named Patricia Morrison, who Maya had researched and vetted. Patricia was 60 years old, steel gray hair, sharp eyes, and a reputation for destroying cheating husbands in divorce court. "Mrs. Brennan, I've reviewed the evidence your daughter compiled. It's extensive." She tapped the file folder on her desk. "The hidden account alone gives us grounds for an extremely favorable settlement. The affair, the financial deception, the planning to divorce you while securing his assets first, it all paints a picture of calculated betrayal. What can I get? The house, 65 to 70% of all marital assets, alimony, and possibly damages for financial deception. He'll be required to reimburse the marital estate for all money spent on the affair, and I mean all of it. The jewelry, the dinners, the hotels, every penny." "How much is that?" "Based on your daughter's tracking data, approximately $93,000 over 6 months." I felt sick. $93,000? On her? "There's something else," Patricia continued. "Your husband's company has a morality clause in their executive contracts. I pulled a copy. It's public record since they're a publicly traded company. Any executive who engages in behavior that could damage the company's reputation can be terminated without cause." An affair triggers that clause? An affair with financial impropriety involved? Absolutely.
especially if the affair involved company resources. Did he ever use the corporate credit card for dinners with her, meet her during business hours? I thought about the data Maya had collected. Yes, multiple times. Then we have grounds to report this to his company's ethics board. Patricia leaned back in her chair. Mrs. Brennan, I need to ask you something. Do you want a quiet divorce with a good settlement, or do you want to destroy him? What's the difference? A quiet divorce, we negotiate. He pays you fairly. Everyone moves on with dignity. It's clean, fast, and you get financial security. She paused. Destroying him means we use every piece of leverage we have. We report him to his company. We make sure all his colleagues know what he did. We pursue maximum damages. He loses his job, his reputation, maybe his ability to work in this industry again. It sounds brutal. It is brutal, and it's also exactly what men like your husband deserve. Patricia's expression softened slightly. I've been doing this for 32 years, Mrs. Brennan. I've seen hundreds of women sit where you're sitting, and I'll tell you what I tell all of them. You don't owe him mercy. He showed you none. He was planning to financially devastate you while sleeping with another woman. You have every right to fight back. I thought about Richard this morning, kissing my forehead on his way out. See you tonight, babe. Like everything was normal. Like he wasn't planning my destruction. I want to destroy him. Completely. Patricia smiled. Good. Let's get started. Day 14 arrived, the last day of my performance. Richard came home at 7 p.m. with flowers. Grocery store flowers, cheap ones, probably grabbed on impulse because he felt vaguely guilty. For you, he said, handing them over, just because. Just because he was planning to divorce me as soon as he'd secured his money. Just because he'd been sleeping with someone else for months. Just because he thought I was an idiot who didn't suspect anything. They're beautiful, I said, putting them in water. You're being sweet today. I love you. And he sounded like he meant it, which was somehow worse than if he'd sounded false. I love you too. We had dinner together. He told me about his day at work. I told him about a student who'd gotten into her dream college. We were pleasant, comfortable, familiar. All of it a lie. After dinner, he went upstairs to shower. I heard the water running and knew he was scrubbing off the scent of me before going to her later. He'd told me he had a late meeting. The app showed he'd told Ashley he'd be at her place by 9. At 8:30, my phone buzzed. Maya, everything is ready. Are you sure you want to do this? Me, I'm sure. Maya, okay, I'm hitting send on the emails in 10 minutes. There's no taking this back. Me, I know. Do it. At 8:45, Richard came downstairs in fresh clothes, smelling like expensive cologne. He said, I've got that late meeting. Probably won't be back until midnight. Okay, good luck with it. He kissed my cheek and left. At 8:47, his car pulled out of our driveway. At 8:48, Maya sent the emails. One emailed to Richard's CEO, VP of HR, and the entire executive team at TechCorp. Subject line, Ethics Violation Report, Richard Brennan. The email contained a summary of the affair, screenshots of Richard using the corporate credit card for dinners with Ashley, evidence of him leaving work early for personal appointments that were actually meetings with his mistress. One email to every partner at Richard's golf club, members of his gym, except Ashley, and all the parents from our kids' school that we'd been friendly over the years. Subject line, The Truth About Richard Brennan. The email contained tasteful but damning proof of the affair, including the text where Richard called me someone I had outgrown. One email to Ashley herself, subject line, You're not special. The email contained Maya's research, photos of Ashley's 3 previous engagements to wealthy men, the pattern of extracting money and gifts, proof that Richard was just her latest mark. It ended with, He's planning to give you the diamond tennis bracelet this weekend. It cost $15,000 of marital money. Enjoy it while you can. My lawyer will be requesting its return in the divorce proceedings." And one final email, sent directly to Richard's phone, timed to arrive at 9 p.m. when he'd be pulling up to Ashley's apartment. Subject line, "I know everything." The email simply said, "The Affair app your daughter installed has been tracking you for 2 weeks. I know about Ashley. I know about the hidden bank account. I know about your divorce planning. My lawyer will be contacting you Monday morning. You have until tomorrow at noon to move out of the house. Don't bother coming home tonight. The locks have already been changed." At 9:03 p.m., my phone started ringing. Richard. I didn't answer. He called 17 times in the next hour, left voicemails that progressed from confused to angry to desperate to pleading. "Janet, what the hell is this email? Call me back. This is insane. You can't just lock me out of my own house. Please, Janet, we need to talk about this. There's been a misunderstanding. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry, but you can't do this. You can't ruin my life like this. Pick up the fucking phone, Janet. Baby, please, I love you. We can work this out. Just call me back." I listened to every voicemail once, then deleted them. Maya called at 10 p.m. "Mom, it's done. The emails have been sent, received, and based on the responses I'm seeing, read by pretty much everyone. Dad's CEO responded asking him to attend an emergency meeting Monday morning. The golf club president said they'd be reviewing his membership. And Ashley?" She laughed. "Ashley called him a liar and told him to lose her number." "It's really done?" "It's really done. There's no going back now." "Good," I said. "I don't want to go back." Richard showed up at the house at 11 p.m. I watched through the window as he tried his key and found it didn't work. He pounded on the door. "Janet, open the door. This is my house." I called the police. "My estranged husband is trying to force entry to the house. I filed for divorce today and changed the locks. He's becoming aggressive." 2 officers arrived within 10 minutes. I watched from the window as they spoke to Richard, saw him gesturing wildly, heard his voice raised in anger and frustration. One officer approached my door. I opened it with the chain still on. "Ma'am, your husband says this is his residence." "It was. I filed for divorce today. My attorney has the paperwork. He was instructed via email to remove his belongings by noon tomorrow. He has no legal right to be here tonight." "Ma'am, we can't remove him from a marital residence without a court order." "Officer, my husband has been having an affair and embezzling marital funds. I have evidence he was planning to divorce me while hiding assets. My attorney advised me to secure the residence immediately. If he forces entry, he'll be violating my attorney's instructions and possibly intimidating a witness in a legal proceeding." The officer looked back at Richard, then at me. "Do you feel safe, ma'am?" "Not with him trying to break down my door." "Understood. We'll ask him to leave for tonight. In the morning, he can collect his belongings with a police escort present." "Thank you." I watched Richard's face as the officers told him to leave, watched him realize he'd been completely outmaneuvered, that in one night he'd lost access to his home, his wife, his reputation, and possibly his job. He looked up at the window where I was standing. Our eyes met. I smiled. Then I closed the curtains. The fallout came fast. By Saturday morning, Richard's face was all over local social media. The parents from our kids' school were sharing the email, adding their own commentary. "Can't believe Richard Brennan was cheating on Janet this whole time. That poor woman, she's always been so nice. I heard he was planning to divorce her while hiding money. What a scumbag." The golf club president posted a statement. "Richard Brennan's membership has been suspended pending a review of ethical violations." And Maya showed me texts from Richard's colleagues at TechCorp. She'd gotten them from a friend who worked there. "Dude, did you see the email about Brennan? He's screwed. Emergency executive meeting Monday. Heard they're going to fire him. The affair is bad enough, but using company resources? Career suicide." Richard kept calling, kept texting. His messages shifted from angry to desperate. Janet, please, you're destroying my life. I made a mistake, but this is too far. You're trying to ruin me. The company is going to fire me. I'll lose everything. My own children won't answer my calls. What did you tell them? I hadn't told the kids anything. Maya had, though. She'd shown them the evidence, carefully edited to remove the most explicit parts, but enough to show their father had been betraying their mother for months. Our son Derek, 25 and working in Boston, sent Richard a text. Don't contact me. What you did to Mom is unforgivable. Maya blocked him entirely. Sunday night, Richard sent one final text. You hope you're happy. You've taken everything from me. I responded for the first time since this began. No, Richard, you took everything from yourself. I just made sure there were consequences.
Monday morning, Patricia called me. Richard's attorney contacted me. He wants to settle. Already? He knows he has no leverage. The evidence is overwhelming. The damage to Richard's reputation is done. And TechCorp fired him this morning. They actually fired him? Effective immediately. Ethics violation, misuse of company resources, conduct unbecoming an executive. They gave him 2-week severance. Generous, considering they could have fired him for cause with nothing. I sat down heavily. He lost his job. He lost the job he loved because he chose to risk it for an affair. That's not your fault, Janet. What's he offering in the settlement? Everything you asked for. The house, 70% of assets, alimony, repayment of all affair-related expenses. He's not even fighting it. He just wants this over quickly before more damage is done to whatever's left of his reputation. What about the hidden account? He'll surrender it entirely, plus pay penalties. We're talking about a settlement that will leave you very financially secure, Janet. You'll never have to worry about money again. After I hung up with Patricia, I sat in my kitchen now, in my house, and thought about how much it changed in 72 hours. Friday night, I was a wife being planned out of her own marriage. Monday morning, I was a soon-to-be divorcee who destroyed her cheating husband's career, reputation, and future. Was I supposed to feel guilty? I didn't. I felt powerful. The divorce was finalized 3 months later. Richard tried to rebuild, got a new job at a smaller company for a fraction of his previous salary, moved into a modest apartment downtown, started therapy, according to Maya, who'd heard from friends who'd heard from Richard's brother. Ashley disappeared, deleted her social media, moved to a different city, probably hunting her next mark. Me? I thrived. I kept the house, invested the settlement money wisely, took a sabbatical from work to travel, something I'd always wanted to do but Richard had never made time for. I went to Italy, to Greece, to Thailand, sent postcards to my kids, showing them all the places I was seeing, the life I was building without their father. 6 months after the divorce, I ran into one of Richard's former colleagues at a coffee shop. Janet, how are you? I'm great, Tom, really great. I'm glad to hear that. What Richard did, it was awful. Everyone at TechCorp was talking about it. He shifted uncomfortably. Listen, I know this might be awkward, but there's something you should know. What's that? Richard wasn't Ashley's only target at the gym. Turns out she was also sleeping with 2 other guys, both married, both executives. Your daughter's email exposing the pattern, it saved at least 2 other marriages. The wives saw what happened to you and Richard, confronted their husbands before it went too far. Really? Yeah, one of them actually thanked you, said you showed her what courage looks like. After Tom left, I sat there with my coffee, processing that information. My revenge hadn't just destroyed Richard. It had potentially saved other women from the same betrayal.
That felt good. Really good. Maya's app became legendary. Not officially. She never commercialized it or released it publicly, but word spread through divorce attorney circles, through women's groups, through the networks of betrayed spouses looking for proof. I get requests every week, Maya told me over lunch. Women asking if I can install it on their husbands' phones, offering to pay thousands of dollars for access. What do you tell them? That I can't distribute it legally, but I do offer them resources, legitimate tracking software, advice on documentation, referrals to good attorneys. She paused. Some of them tell me they wish they'd had something like this years ago, that they wasted decades with men who were lying to them. Do you regret creating it? No. Do you regret using it? I thought about that, about the pain of discovery, about the brutal way I'd exposed Richard, about the lives that had been upended. Mine, his, our children's, even Ashley's in a way. No, I said finally. I regret that I needed it, but I don't regret using it. Good. Because, Mom, what you did, standing up for yourself like that, it changed my whole perspective on relationships. I'm never going to let someone lie to me for months while planning to destroy me financially. I'm never going to be the woman who suspects but doesn't verify. I hope you never need to verify. Me too. But if I do, I'll know how. 18 months after the app, I started dating. His name was Michael, a divorced father of two who I met through work. His daughter was one of my students. We struck up a conversation at a parent-teacher conference and exchanged numbers. Full disclosure, I told him on our second date. My divorce was messy, very public. If you Google my name, you'll find the whole story. I already did, he admitted, after our first date. And I think you handled it exactly right. Your ex betrayed you, planned to screw you over financially, and you fought back. That's not messy, that's strength. Some people think I went too far, that public exposure was too brutal. Some people have never been betrayed by someone they trusted for 28 years. Michael reached across the table and took my hand. Janet, I was married for 15 years. My ex-wife cheated with my business partner. I found out by walking in on them. She tried to gaslight me, say I was overreacting, that it was just a one-time mistake. I believed her because I wanted to. We stayed married another 2 years before she finally left him for him. I'm sorry?
Don't be. What I'm saying is, I wasted 2 years of my life trying to save a marriage that was already dead. You didn't do that. You got proof, you protected yourself, and you made sure there were consequences. I respect that. We dated for 6 months before I told him the full story of the app, how Maya had created it, how it had tracked Richard's every movement, every text, every deleted message. That's genius, Michael said. Terrifying, but genius. Do you think it was wrong, using the app without Richard knowing? I think if you're in a marriage and you suspect your spouse is lying to you, you have a right to verify the truth. How you verify it, whether through an app, a private investigator, or just paying attention, that's just tactics. Richard says I violated his privacy. Richard was planning to violate your financial security. He doesn't get to claim victim status. Michael pulled me close. Janet, stop questioning whether you did the right thing. You did. You protected yourself and your children. You made sure a man who was betraying you faced consequences. That's not wrong. That's justice. I married Michael on a Saturday in May. It was small. Just our kids, a few close friends, Maya coming home from California for the weekend. Nothing like my first wedding with Richard, which had been big and elaborate and full of promises that turned out to be lies.
This was real, honest, simple. Derek walked me down the aisle. I'm happy for you, Mom. You deserve this. Thank you, sweetie. And Mom, thank you for showing me what it looks like to stand up for yourself, to refuse to be treated badly. I think about that with Sarah, his girlfriend of 2 years. I make sure I'm always honest with her, always upfront, because I saw what lying did to you and Dad. After the ceremony, during the reception, Maya pulled me aside. I got an email last week from a woman named Christine. She said she was one of the wives Tom mentioned, one of the women whose marriage was saved because of what you did to Dad. She wanted me to thank you. That's nice of her. She said watching you refuse to be a victim gave her the courage to confront her husband when she suspected something was off. Turned out he'd been having an emotional affair with a coworker, not physical yet, but heading there. Because she confronted him early, they were able to work through it. They're in couples therapy now, actually dealing with their issues instead of letting them fester. I'm glad she was able to save her marriage. The point is, Mom, what you did, it rippled.
You didn't just protect yourself. You showed other women that they don't have to accept betrayal quietly, that they can demand truth and enforce consequences. I didn't do it to inspire anyone. I did it because I was angry. You did it because you refused to be a victim. That's inspiring, whether you meant it to be or not. Maya squeezed my hand. Also, Dad's here. I looked across the lawn and saw Richard standing awkwardly near the parking lot, not quite at the reception, but not quite leaving either. What is he doing here? Derek invited him. Said Dad wanted to apologize to you in person. Derek told him this was his only chance, that after today you'd be married to Michael and that chapter would be completely closed. I excused myself and walked over to where Richard stood. He looked older, grayer. The past 2.5 years had aged him in ways that went beyond just physical. Janet, you look beautiful. Thank you. What are you doing here, Richard? Derek said I could come, said I should come, that I owed you an apology. He shifted his weight uncomfortably. The truth is, I've been trying to figure out how to apologize to you for 2 years. What do you say to someone whose life you tried to destroy? You could start with, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. God, Janet, I'm so sorry. For the affair, for planning to screw you over financially, for 28 years of marriage that I was willing to throw away for someone who turned out to be a con artist. He laughed bitterly. You knew Ashley was playing me. Your daughter's email laid it all out, but I was too stupid and arrogant to believe it. I thought I was special, that she actually loved me. She didn't love you. She loved your money. I know that now. Learned it the hard way when she disappeared the second things got complicated. He looked at me directly. I lost everything because of my choices. My job, my reputation, my family, most of my money, and I deserved to lose it. What you did, exposing me the way you did, it was brutal, but it was also exactly what I deserved. Yes, it was. Are you happy with Michael? Very. Good. You deserve to be happy. You deserved better than me. He paused. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just wanted you to know that I understand what I did, what I lost, and that I'm sorry. I looked at this man I'd spent 28 years with, the man who'd fathered my children, the man who'd betrayed me without hesitation. I forgive you, I said finally. He looked shocked. You do? Not for you, for me. I'm not going to carry anger into my new marriage. I'm not going to let what you did poison the rest of my life. I straightened my dress. But forgiving you doesn't mean I regret what I did. Using the app, exposing the affair, making sure everyone knew what you'd done,
I'd do it all again. You needed consequences. You needed to lose everything so you could understand the value of what you'd thrown away. I understand now. Good. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a reception to get back to. My husband is waiting for me. I walked away from Richard, away from that chapter of my life, and back toward Michael, who was laughing with Maya and Derek, fitting into my family like he'd always been there. This was my life now, not the one I'd planned with Richard, not the comfortable, predictable existence I thought I wanted, but something better, something honest, something I'd built myself from the ruins of betrayal. I was at the grocery store when I saw her, Ashley. She was in the produce section wearing workout clothes that were less expensive than the designer gear she'd worn 3 years ago. Her hair was different, darker, shorter. She looked tired. Our eyes met across the apples. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then she walked towards me. Janet. Ashley. I'm surprised you're talking to me. I'm surprised you're still in town. I thought you'd left. I did. Moved to Phoenix for a year, then LA, but my mother got sick, so I came back to take care of her. She picked up an apple, set it down, not really seeing it. Look, I know you have every reason to hate me. What I did to you, to your marriage, it was wrong. Yes, it was. Richard told me you didn't know, that you were basically roommates, that the marriage was dead, and you were just going through the motions until your kids graduated. She looked at me directly. Was he lying? Yes. We had problems, like any long marriage has problems, but we weren't dead. I loved him, and he knew that when he started sleeping with you. God, I'm such an idiot. He wasn't even my only... She stopped herself. Never mind. I know about the others. Maya found them. Tom Henderson, Dobid Chen, the pattern of dating wealthy men, getting engaged, extracting money and gifts, then disappearing. Ashley's face flushed. You exposed that. In the email, everyone knew what I was. What you are. Past tense implies you've changed. I have changed. Losing my mother made me realize what's actually important. It's not money or gifts or the thrill of stealing someone else's husband. She wiped at her eyes. I work at a physical therapy clinic now, make $40,000 a year, live in a studio apartment. No more designer clothes or luxury cars, just normal life.
And is normal life better? Honestly, it's harder, but it's real. I'm not pretending to be someone I'm not. I'm not using people. She paused. I'm sorry for what I did to you, for what I did to Richard, for being the person I was. I studied her face, looking for signs of manipulation, of performance, but all I saw was exhaustion and regret. Do you know what the hardest part was? I asked. It wasn't the affair itself. It was knowing Richard was planning to destroy me financially while I still trusted him. That he'd been researching divorce lawyers, hiding money, strategizing how to leave me with as little as possible, all while I was making him dinner and sleeping beside him every night. He told me he'd take care of me, that once the divorce was settled in his favor, we'd have plenty of money to start our life together. Ashley laughed bitterly. I actually believed him, believed I was special, that it wasn't just another scam. You were running a scam on someone who was running a scam on me. Scammers all the way down. And you outscammed us both. I didn't scam anyone. I collected evidence of what was really happening and made sure people knew the truth. That's not a scam. That's accountability. Ashley nodded slowly. You're right. And for what it's worth, What you did, the app, the exposure, all of it, it probably saved me from ruining more lives. After you exposed the pattern, no wealthy man would touch me. I had to actually figure out who I was without them, had to build a real life instead of a parasitic one. So you're thanking me for destroying your con artist career. I'm thanking you for forcing me to grow up. After Ashley left, I stood in the produce section thinking about revenge and consequences and the unexpected ways that destroying someone can actually save them. I'd used the app to protect myself, to gather evidence, to ensure Richard couldn't manipulate or gaslight his way out of accountability. But in doing so, I'd also forced both Richard and Ashley to face themselves, to see what they'd become, to choose whether to stay broken or rebuild as better people. That wasn't revenge. That was truth. And truth, it turned out, was the most powerful weapon of all. Maya called me on a Tuesday evening. "Mom, I need to tell you something about the app. I thought you deleted it." I did, but I kept the concept, the methodology, and I've been working with a domestic violence organization to create something new. What kind of something new? A safety app. For women in abusive relationships who need to document behavior for legal protection. It does what the Affair app did, tracks location, messages, calls, everything, but it's designed specifically for abuse victims who need evidence to get restraining orders or win custody battles. Maya, that's incredible. It's legal, properly licensed, and only available through certified domestic violence advocates who vet the users. We're calling it Truth Shield. And Mom, it works. We've helped 37 women escape abusive relationships in the past 6 months, helped them gather evidence their abusers didn't know existed, protected them. I felt tears prick my eyes. Your father would be proud. Not Richard, your grandfather. He'd be proud of you using your skills to protect people. You learned from you, Mom. You showed me that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is refuse to accept lies. That documentation and evidence can be tools of liberation, not just revenge. The Affair app was revenge, sweetie. Let's not pretend it wasn't. Was it? Or was it self-protection? You didn't use the app to hurt Dad for the sake of hurting him. You used it to prevent him from hurting you worse. That's defense, not offense. Maybe she was right. Maybe there was no meaningful difference between revenge and self-protection when someone was actively planning your destruction. Maybe demanding truth and enforcing consequences wasn't vindictive, it was survival. Michael and I were having dinner when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Is this Janet Brennan Patterson? Yes, who's calling? My name is Dr. Sarah Chen. I'm a researcher at Stanford studying technology and relationship transparency. I'm writing a paper about the ethics of surveillance in intimate partnerships, and your daughter Maya referred me to you. Maya gave you my number? With your permission, she said. She told me about the app she created, about how you used it to discover your ex-husband's affair and protect yourself during the divorce. I'd like to interview you for my research. I'm not sure what I can tell you that Maya hasn't already explained. I'm interested in the ethical dimensions, the question of whether spouses have a right to surveil each other when trust has been violated, whether technology that exposes betrayal is a tool of empowerment or an invasion of privacy.
What's your opinion? I don't have one yet. That's why I'm researching. But I'm curious, do you think what you did was ethically justified? I thought about that, about Richard's betrayal, about the app that had shown me the truth, about the brutal exposure that had followed. Yes, I said finally. I think when someone is actively deceiving you, actively planning to harm you, you have a right to know the truth. How you obtain that truth, whether through an app,
a private investigator, or just careful observation, that's just methodology. Even if the person doesn't know they're being monitored. Especially if they don't know. If Richard had known about the app, he would have found ways to hide his tracks better. The only way to get real truth is to observe people when they think no one's watching. Some would call that a violation of trust. Richard violated trust when he started sleeping with someone else. Monitoring his phone to confirm what I already suspected, that's not a violation, that's verification. Dr. Chen was quiet for a moment. Can I ask you something personal? Do you regret how you handled the exposure, making it so public? No. Public exposure meant witnesses, meant Richard couldn't rewrite history later, couldn't gaslight me into thinking I'd overreacted or misunderstood. 300 people saw the evidence. He couldn't manipulate his way out of that. But it destroyed his career, his reputation, his relationship with his family for years. He destroyed those things himself when he made the choices he made. I just made sure there were consequences. I paused. Dr. Chen, I spent 28 years being the good wife, the understanding one, the one who made things comfortable for everyone around me. And my reward for that was a husband who planned to divorce me while hiding assets and leaving me financially devastated. If I discovered the affair and confronted him privately, he would have lied, manipulated, maybe convinced me to give him another chance while he finished planning his exit strategy. Public exposure was the only way to protect myself completely. So, you'd do it again? Every single time. After I hung up, Michael asked, "That was about the app?" Stanford researcher, writing a paper about relationship surveillance. What did you tell her? The truth. That sometimes the most ethical thing you can do is refuse to accept lies. That exposure isn't cruelty, it's accountability. Michael reached across the table and took my hand. You know what I love about you? You don't apologize for protecting yourself. You don't play the victim. You just exist, fully, completely, unapologetically. I learned that from being destroyed and having to rebuild. When you lose everything, you realize you don't need permission to be whole. Richard didn't destroy you, though. He tried, but you were too strong. No, I was too smart. I didn't let him control the narrative, didn't let him define what happened between us. I took control, documented everything, and made sure the truth was told on my terms. I squeezed his hand. That's the real power of the app, Michael. It wasn't just about catching Richard. It was about taking back control of my own story. Maya's Truth Shield app had helped over 2,000 women escape abusive relationships. Richard had remarried, a woman his own age, someone he'd met in therapy. They seemed happy, in the carefully curated way people present on social media. Ashley was engaged to a physical therapist from her clinic, an actual healthy relationship from what Derek had heard through mutual acquaintances. And me? I was 59 years old, happily married to Michael, working part-time as a consultant for divorce attorneys who needed help understanding technology-based evidence. The affair app that Maya had created, the one that had exposed Richard's betrayal and changed the trajectory of my life, was gone, deleted, existed only in memory and in the lessons we'd all learned from it. But its legacy lived on. In Truth Shield, which protected abuse victims, in the 3 marriages Tom said we'd saved by exposing Ashley's pattern, in my own refusal to ever again accept lies as love. Sometimes I thought about that night, 7 years ago, when I'd sat in my kitchen with Maya's laptop, watching 2 weeks of surveillance data load on the screen, watching my marriage disintegrate in text messages and location data and deleted photos. It had been the worst night of my life, and the beginning of the best decision I'd ever made. Because refusing to be a victim, refusing to accept betrayal quietly, that wasn't revenge. That was revolution. A revolution of one woman who said no more, who demanded truth, who enforced consequences, who refused to let the narrative of her own life be written by someone who'd betrayed her. The affair app had exposed Richard's lies, But more importantly, it had revealed my own strength. And that was worth more than 28 years of comfortable deception could ever be.